Welcome back everyone to Dr. Christy Cares. I'm Dr. Christy Matuziak, and today I'm going to talk with you about histamine foods, sensitivity foods, kind of allergies. I want to make the distinction though. What I'm going to be addressing in this video are more food sensitivities versus food allergies. In my distinction, food allergies are things that you have an immediate onset response to. So think about the kid who has a peanut allergy, who needs an EpiPen. That's the distinction I'm making. I'm not discussing allergies right now. I'm discussing things that create a histamine response in your body and that create longer term, more chronic or even delayed onset sensitivity responses. So here's the thing. This can be different for everyone. I've found people who are sensitive to green beans, for instance, and that has implications, you know, we could get into that at a different time, why gut health is so important, because that's not really a normal thing. However, most common things that people become sensitive to are things like wheat, dairy, soy, corn, sometimes citrus, sometimes methylxanthines, also caffeine, citrus, chocolate, things along these lines. The thing is, you could look for histamine foods on the internet and find a list of things that they're going to provide you with. But the bottom line is everyone is a little bit different. So how do we know what we're sensitive to? So there's a couple different ways that you can test this on your own. The first way is by checking your pulse. So this is a little bit labor intensive, not labor intensive, but time consuming at least. Sit down, have a calm, relaxed meal, eat whatever the food is that you're testing. Check your pulse before you eat that food. Check your pulse. Let's say you're resting, sitting there, doing nothing. Pulse is 64. Great. You eat your food. Wait 10 minutes. Don't jump around and do jumping jacks and run around the house and get errands done. Just stay sitting and stay in a relaxed state. 10 minutes later, check your pulse again. If it's 66, you're probably not having much of a response to that food. If it's 76, you might be. So your body will produce a stress response to something that it does not care for. And so you'll be able to detect that in your pulse if you're having a negative response to that food. The other way that you can do it is by a simple elimination diet. So you can simply just, you know what, I'm going to cut out wheat for 2 weeks and see how my body feels. And that's great. If you feel better after 2 weeks, you know that you were having a sensitivity response to that food. That can also be time consuming in the essence that you have to take one food at a time, reintroduce things one thing at a time, and that can sometimes be a little bit too much for people, okay? Another way is by doing a blood test. Of course, that you need to go to a doctor's office to get IgGs tested to find what antibodies are in your blood attacking which kinds of compounds and which kinds of foods. Lastly, and this is something I do in my office, is we do muscle testing for a lot of food sensitivities. So this is a really powerful way. Sometimes, so in my experience, we can have a straight up weakening response when you taste or are near a food. You have a straight up weakening response. You can have what I call a neutral response, where nothing happens. It's not really great for you, which is good. It's not really great for you, like helping you as far as like a medicine is concerned, but it's also not hurting you, so that's normal. But you could also have an over-strengthening response, which means your body's had a stress response to it. In my experience, if you have a stress response to a food, this is a food that will be really hard for you to give up. And if you give it up for 2 weeks, you will not see a difference at all. And you're going to say, forget it. This doesn't help me at all. I'm going to go back to eating it. But it's at that point that you reintroduce it that you start to feel terrible. And that's usually the correlation that I tend to make. If you have a straight up weakening response to a food, that's usually the thing that you're going to feel better upon immediate removal of it in your diet. So those are some of the things that I wanted to address with you today. Bottom line is any food can be a sensitivity inducing or histamine inducing food for any person, depending on your state of health. So get these things tested in some way, maybe via one of the methods that I've described for you here. Otherwise, let me know if you got any questions. That's all I have for you right now. Next week, we're going to talk about substitution. So if you are trying to become dairy-free, gluten-free, sugar-free, how to do this and still kind of live a normal life. So please subscribe and share if you found this content valuable. And until next time, Dr. Christy Matuziak here with Dr. Christy Cares. Have a fantastic day and a healthy life.